excited to see you guys. Y'all go ahead and stand up. We're just going to have a little fun today. Welcome to everybody watching us online. Thank you for joining us. We are here to worship. Come bring your song. God's done great things, and He's not done. Let the sound of heaven come and flood the earth. Let the saints rise up as your glory fills the church. For the Lord is good, and His love endures forever. He is always good, and His love endures forever. Praise God, from whom all blessings flow. Praise Him, all the earth below. He is worthy, worthy. Praise God, all you heavenly hosts. Praise Father, Son, and Holy Ghost. He is worthy, worthy. Praise God. Praise God. He is worthy, worthy. Praise God. Praise God. Y'all put those hands together. Come on. The blind eyes open, for the lost ones saved. We raise our hands and we magnify His name. For the Lord is good, and His love endures forever. Yeah. He is always good, and His love endures forever. Praise God, from whom all blessings flow. Praise Him, all the earth below. He is worthy, worthy. Praise God, all you heavenly hosts. Praise Father, Son, and Holy Ghost. He is worthy, worthy. Praise God. Praise God. He is worthy, worthy. Praise God. Praise God. He is worthy, worthy. And on that day, when the trumpet sounds, every eye will see, and every knee will bow. Hey! All the glory and power to Christ our King. Come on! He reigns forever. All creation sing. Praise God, from whom all blessings flow. Praise Him, all the earth below. He is worthy, worthy. Praise God, all you heavenly hosts. Praise Father, Son, and Holy Ghost. He is worthy, worthy. Praise God. Praise God. He is worthy, worthy. Praise God. Praise God. He is worthy, worthy. Praise God. Let's shout it out together. Praise God. Give Him a shout of praise in the house. Come on. Yeah. Yeah. You know, James chapter 1, verse 17 says that all good things and every perfect gift comes from above. That in itself is worth celebrating, right? Come on. But when you read down in the scripture, you know that it's not really talking so much about what He does, but His character and who He is. Because it also says that He is without variation, which means that He is good all the time, right? And
that is something that we can be encouraged by this morning. If you're dealing with something this morning, just know that God is going to turn that around for good. And we need to celebrate him and his goodness all the time in this place today, right? Let's worship together, okay? Y'all go ahead and put those hands together. Yeah. Sorry.
We're going to celebrate today. For every battle you won without question, for every lie that you silenced with love, we acknowledge you in every victory, Almighty God. Let me hear your voice out loud. For every promise you've kept in the valley, for every burden you lifted with ease, we are gathered in great expectation, Lord, we believe. All right. You never cease to amaze us. All of the praises, Lord, they belong to you. Jesus, receive all the glory. Take all the credit for what you're about to do. Every good thing comes from you, yeah. Come on. For every season that showed us your sorrow, for every trial that taught us to trust, we are standing right here in your purpose as you stand with us. You never cease to amaze us. All of the praises, Lord, they belong to you. Jesus, receive all the glory. Take all the credit for what you're about. Sing it out, come on. Every good thing comes from you. Every good thing comes from you. Every good thing. Whoa, let him hear your voice. Every good thing. Whoa, every good thing. Never cease to amaze us. All of the praises, Lord, they belong to you.
Y'all sound good out there today. Come on.
Jesus, receive all the glory. Take all the credit for what you're about to do. You never cease to amaze us. All of the praises, Lord, they belong to you. Jesus, receive all the glory. Take all the credit for what you're about to do. Every good thing comes from you. Every good thing comes from you. Every good thing. Whoa, every good
Why would I worry when giants come calling my name? My God is so much bigger than troubles I face. Do you guys believe that this morning? Come on. Why would I hunger for power or riches or fame? Hey, my God is so much better than all of these.
I know you never will.
you serve a God that never fails? He can do anything. He does all things, but the one thing he cannot do, will not do, is fail. He won't fail, and he won't fail you. And if you say, well, I've already given him a shot, I already gave him a chance, man, he failed me. No, you just tried to hold on and fix everything yourself, and the only way to get God to step in is to live your life like this. So whatever problem or addiction you brought in here, you have a choice. You can leave here with it, or you can release it to him. But I hear a sound today. What is that sound? I believe that's the sound of prison doors swinging wide open. I believe that's the sound of shackles falling off people's feet, addictions being gone, relationships being restored, sicknesses being healed. I just serve a God that it is impossible for him to be defeated. In fact, he's so powerful, he said, listen, no matter what weapon the enemy brings against you, it will not prosper. It cannot stand, because I am too big in your life if we'll just let it. Turn to your neighbor and just say, oh, he good, God good. Some of you got to work on your black preacher voice a little bit better. Oh, he good. Go on, look at your neighbor, try one more time. Oh, he good, he good, God good, God good. Hey, man, this is Palm Sunday, so I'm glad you brought your palms with you. This week, bad joke. This week kicks off Servolution. We started Servolution yesterday with Springfest. Had a great time, and so that just really kicks off this entire week of Servolution. We need you to be involved. We are a serving church. If you came for a country club church, this ain't it. Go find another one. This is a house of servants that want to change our city. We believe, we love our city, and we take responsibility for it. And so we want to serve together. There's lots of opportunities. There's a little QR code on the back of your chair, and so you can scan that, and that in there, just click on upcoming events, and that'll take you to all the serve events, and you can sign up for them right there. We're trying to make it so easy, right? I mean, it's not difficult. There's something every single day this week, and then a big serve event here at the house on Saturday. It's all in the app. One of the things that's not in the app that is a part of our Servolution event week is, I'm sure you guys have heard of the devastation that happened in Rolling Fork, Mississippi, and the loss of life. And I mean, it's almost mind-blowing that it's a town that is almost no longer there. Well, we want to help. So that obviously it was a tragedy and kind of came up without planning. It happens. But if you want to be a part of doing some help down there, it's different days this week. There's a guy at the desks, the counters in the lobby. His name is Nick. Nick will answer all your questions. We're partnering with another ministry organization. We're going to go down there, chainsaws and tarps, and then we're also going to, another organization, we're going to help them build portable storage facilities, because people are pulling things out of their homes, but they don't have any place to put them. And so all this stuff, okay, a lot of information, but if you're interested in that, doing hands-on work in Rolling Fork this week, then go see Nick out in the lobby, okay, and he'll be there. And then, so that leads up to, you know what next Sunday is? It's Easter's. It's Easter's. Out there at the table, when you first walked in, you saw it. There's all these cards. Grab some, invite some people to come with you. There's also yard signs out there. I had an example, but I can't carry everything. So, yard signs out there. Get it all, make it all gone this week, this service, because obviously all these service times are going to be different, so we're not going to use it again, and we're not doing this Easter again. We'll do another one next year. It'll be different. So make sure all that stuff disappears today. And then after Easter is what? Water baptism. So if you've given your life to Jesus Christ, your next spiritual step is water baptism. Again, you can use the QR code on the back of the chair and sign up for that. All right, we're going to take 42 seconds, turn some things around up here. I am glad to see you. Here's your question for the day. You ready? It comes with a question and a response. So the question is, ask the person somewhere around you, say, who are you inviting to Easter next Sunday? And if they say nobody, then you look back at them and say, heathen. On your mark, get set, go.
Good morning, South Point. Wow, y'all are looking great today.
I got a question for you. Is it your first time here? If so, fill out the Connect card in our worship guide and drop it in the black boxes on the back wall. Or, if you're all high tech, then you can click the Connect button on our app.
Here at South Point, we are irrationally generous.
Thanks, Dan. You can give on our app at southpoint.tv, the giving kiosk in the lobby, or the black boxes on the back wall.
We also have a team dedicated to praying for all of you.
So, if you need prayer, go ahead and give this QR code a scan. Don't be shy. Scan it.
Do you know what these numbers mean? I do, but they probably don't. They probably don't. These numbers will pop up on the screen during service if your kid is getting a little too much for us to handle. So, if the numbers match your sticker that you got when you check your kid in, go ahead and exit service and meet our teachers in the Kids Point lobby. Do you guys want to be on this screen with us? If so, DM us on Instagram and you can be on the Habs Talk Show. You forgot to tell them about our socials. Oh yes! Guys, don't be a silly goose and go and follow us on all of our socials. So let's get ready for a great message. A fabulous message. Ready, set, go!
Party people. Yeah, I love it. 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 All right, real quick, we got a lot of people watching online. Will you guys join me welcoming everybody, Church Online platform, YouTube, Facebook. Love you guys. Welcome for all you guys in-house. Y'all looking good. Worship was good this morning. I heard you guys, even those in the back. Welcome, welcome, welcome. My name is Carson. I'm the Next Generation Pastor, and I get the privilege to close out this series called Mental Myths, where we have been looking at things that culturally are acceptable, socially acceptable, but to be the best version of us, we have got to kind of remove those things and start stepping into the truth of Jesus in the middle, right? Whether it's our politics, whether it's the things we focus on that take our time, right? We've got to kind of dig in and find the truth that Jesus wants us to have. Now, I'll tell you guys, one of my favorite things in the world is this next generation. Especially, I know for all the students it's like this, but hold on, I'm going somewhere with it. It's not just their personalities, it's the fact that they have recreated language as we know it. Generation Z has words that make no sense and have so many meanings. And so my new favorite thing that I've been doing is I will Google the most trending word for TikTok or Instagram that I don't know. So if it doesn't make any sense to me, I'm like, oh, I'm all in. Let's do this. And I'll just show up on a Wednesday when we have our service for students, and I'll just go around and just start using the word in a sentence. It's mostly never correct. And the face I get, anybody ever gotten that moment where someone looks at you and they're like, you feel old? Anybody got that, right? I get that every Wednesday. I feel as old as some of you are. It's just the way that it is. And I love you guys. It's okay. Deep breaths this morning. Deep breaths. But for real, it is that moment where they're words. And so a few months ago, there was this moment where I was walking through the lobby and I heard them talking about, this tea, you're not understanding what's going on. It's this, it's that. And being the nosy person that I am, I just inserted myself into the conversation. I was like, man, what are we talking about? We're talking about the tea. I was like, oh goodness, peach, lemon, black Earl, herbal, mint. What kind of tea? I like tea. And they looked at me and goes, no, not that kind of tea. We're talking about the gossip. We're talking about the tea, the boiling hot stuff, all this information about so-and-so, who they're dating, who they're talking to, what's going on. You're not going to believe it. Oh my goodness, it's a lot. It is a lot. And what's crazy about it is this terminology for spilling the tea and gossip, as funny as it's become to use culturally, it has been something that has separated us as human beings since the beginning of time. It's become this thing that has, in a way where it was this social construct for us to sit down and share information and share opinions, it's become a place of division. It's become a place of opinions, of thoughts and feelings, and a lot more of how we want to be right or validated in situations than a time to actually just find solutions, peace, and prosperity. And it's been this way through the course of history, not just human history, not just American history, right? If you think about us, we fought for independence because of tea. Like a tea tax, that was the breaking point. You can tax us on everything, but you ain't gonna tax this. We have been fighting for information, and we have been fighting and creating wars and battles over information and gossip since the beginning of time. And the middle myth is that as social and culturally acceptable as it is, it will do nothing more than divide you and poison you as you grow closer to Christ. It will not bring you the fulfillment and the wholeness and the connection that you so desire. It's not just my word, it's God's word. Proverbs 6:17 through 19. Putting others down while considering yourself superior, spreading lies and rumors, spilling the blood of the innocent, plotting evil in your heart toward one another, gloating over what is doing plainly wrong, spouting lies and false testimony, stirring up strife between friends. These are entirely despicable to God. God hates gossip. It is despicable to him. He can't stand it because he knows what it does to us. He knows what it does to our souls. He knows what it does to our friendships. He knows what it does to our families. Gossip destroys people. It ruins it. And it ruins us. And when we participate in it, whether we're the ones spilling the tea or the ones taking in the tea, because we are filters in our life. But the problem is we've been broken, we've been hurt, we've been through life, and our filters can't always see things the way God does. God sees us perfectly. He sees us as loving, wonderful creations that he made. But the problem is when we have past hurts, whether it's bad relationships or issues with finances or issues with friend groups, that filter becomes frustrating and gritty, and we then put our opinions and our thoughts into the situations. It's funny when we have bad relationships, how when we gossip or we are partaking in gossip of those relationships, it somehow reminds us back of the people that hurt us in the past. It doesn't come from a place of understanding. It doesn't come from a place of genuine concern. It doesn't come from a place of love and mercy. And you see, it's not the same thing as venting, because venting is that moment where you go to the person that you're talking about. You don't talk about it with others. It's not this tea to be spilled. You look for resolutions. You try to find the best in the situation, and you come from a place of love, humbleness, forgiveness in those moments. And the reality of it is venting really should only be reserved for three people. A, God. B, a therapist. Or C, your spouse. Unless it's about your spouse, then you need to see options A or B. But the reality of it is that there has been gossip and issues with gossip that have been a part of our lives, and in the Bible, it is something that has been consistent in God's people. Adam and Eve were tempted by the serpent, who had no desire for them but to just fall away from their issues. When Moses went to Mount Sinai to get the law, all the people freaked out, started gossiping that he was dead, and they created idols. When David was going to be anointed as the new king of Israel, and Saul got all his FOMO all messed up, fear of missing out. More on that in just a minute. All that fear of missing out, he reacted. When Jesus walked the earth with his disciples, they were constantly told and being a part of gossip. They're this, they're that, they're not real. The early church suffered it. In fact, almost every single letter of the New Testament that Paul writes to the churches, almost every one of the topics is gossip. People in the churches complaining or talking or spilling lies and spilling the tea about each other. And it consistently follows us into today. We live in a society that embraces this moment, coming around a table and just gossiping and spilling all the mess on other people. And we have got to be the ones to change it. We have got to be the ones that want to remove this gossip lifestyle. And so this morning, I'm going to give you guys 3 things that gossip will do to you. If you are partaking in it, if you are the one that's been just the source of it, or you're the one that consistently pours it out, and then some ways that we can treat through it. I hope you guys are ready to dive in. So are you guys ready to go? Okay, this section feels good. The sides, just come on. Squeeze it out like a sponge. It's going to be great. Toxic traits, I love it. Gossip is a tasty treat. Gossip is a tasty treat. There is one thing in this world that I might throw down for than anything else, and that's an Oreo. And you laugh, and some of y'all are Reese's people, and I'm up there. Reese's is up there in my life, but Oreos for me is the greatest snack ever because it's perfect. It's the best snack. And as a kid, this was like the worst snack for me because my mom would go and buy it, and then I would eat way too many, right? I'd say to myself, oh, I'm just going to eat a few. But no, I would just go through sleeve after sleeve. Like, my wife doesn't buy it for our house because she knows I'll eat it all. And as a kid, I mean, it was locked in the cabinet, right? If you have a padlock on something for your snacks, you need to talk to a therapist or God, right? So I was there, and this one day, she forgot to lock it, and I said to myself, like, I'm not gonna eat this entire sleeve. I did eat the entire sleeve, but I was feeling so bad. I was so sick. I wasn't feeling good, and so I went to the bathroom and all this, and I'm just like, oh no. And typically when you have an experience like that, right, you go to the bathroom, you're expecting the normal kind of processes and everything, right? Well, this was not that, and I was freaking out. I think I called my mom, oh, I'm dying. This doesn't look right. I don't know what's going on. I'm freaking out here. Please help me. And she was like, what's going on? I was like, I don't know why it looks this way. I don't know what's going on. She goes, did you eat all the Oreos? I was like, I maybe ate a few. It's like the sleeve. She goes, that's why it looks that way. You can't eat that many. It always changes when you do that. But Oreos and gossip are tasty treats because they feel really good for just a moment. But when they sit on us, they make us sick. Proverbs 18:8, the words of a whisperer are like delicious morsels. They go down into the inner parts of the body. I talked about Saul's issue with fear of missing out. All of us at some level don't like being in the outer circle of conversations. We don't like missing out on things. Even if it's not a big deal for you or it's a huge deal, we don't like missing out on situations and conversations. And so what gossip does is it allows us to insert ourselves, even for just a moment, into someone else's circle, life, or understanding. It puts us in the focus. And we love that feeling of being able to tell someone something they didn't know or be the resource for someone. Even if it means that all we're doing is just feeding them tasty treats that really don't give them any nutrition. When you're eating spiritual junk food, spilling the tea is like the Oreos that I love so much. It will never bring you the nutrition to really feel connected to the person you are gossiping about or to. I'll say that in the back for everybody. Just like the Oreos that I love, it will never bring you the nutrition to really feel connected to the person you are gossiping to or about. It will feel good for a moment, but you will still feel as empty and as sick as you do. Because gossip is hypertension, and there's gossip that creates hypertension in our soul, and it's lethal. If you're not into medicine or medical terms, hypertension is called the silent killer. Because what it does is you have hypertension, it stays with you for years, and if you don't get it checked, you don't do all the things you need to keep yourself healthy, at one moment you could have an attack. And that attack could end up being something that scars you much worse than it should. It seems like the amount of pain and suffering and what happened to you in hypertension caused more damage than it should have. And we just keep taking in tasty treats of gossip. That's what it does. It sits on us. And slowly, you're not seeing it over time, but instantly you'll notice that, man, I don't have patience like I used to. I don't have forgiveness like I used to. I just don't love people like I used to. I like to complain a lot more. Gossip will clog the airways of your kindness, it will choke out your patience, and it will drain you of forgiveness. And it will sit on you, and it will be that thing that ends up killing who you are and who you believe in, because it will take away everything that you see of yourself and the way God sees you. Slowly over time, these little snacks are going to lead you to spiritual obesity. And then more trials and more traumas, and life will just happen, and you will not be strong enough to carry it by yourself or even with the people around you that love you. You will feel overwhelmed. How we doing? You good? Feeling good? Okay. Gossip poisons the person who consumes it. Gossip poisons the person who consumes it. When we consume gossip, it becomes something that stays with us. Years ago, a buddy of mine was telling me all about this steak place I had to go try. He was like, man, you gotta try it. It's the best steak you've ever had. I'm telling you, you gotta try it, you gotta try it. And he was just hyping this thing up. So I'm all in. I know I look like a dude that eats steak, because I am a dude that eats steak. So I'm like, I'm all in, so I show up to the restaurant, I sit down, I am ready, man. You ever had that excitement for a meal? Anybody ever had that? Like, yes, all right, so I'm ready. I'm leaned in, I order it the way he told me to order it. I put all the interest into it, I'm doing it. And it shows up, I can smell it, I'm like, oh, it's gonna be so good, I'm so excited. And it sits down, I cut that piece of the meat, I take a bite. And it was the worst steak I have ever had. It was awful. It was one of those moments when, the lens went off, and I was like, you ever remember when you get something at a restaurant, and they're like, this is the best piece of meat ever, and it's like, no, this is definitely fried cat. There's no way this is edible. That's one of those, it was that. Everything just went away, and I was like, it wasn't a good piece of meat. The service actually wasn't really that good, and I felt betrayed. I was like, what is going on? And so I went back to my friend. I'm like, dude, what in the world, man? This was the worst steak that I've ever eaten. He goes, what? I can't believe that. So-and-so told me it was delicious. And I looked at him and I said, man, are you telling me you've never tried this steak? You never went there? He's like, no, I just, so-and-so told them and so-and-so told them. And it really, I heard it was good. But the reality is that when we are just letting gossip come into us and we don't check the source, we're not willing to actually go to the person and be honest. If we try to look at the intentions, is it out of love? Is it out of grace? Is it out of mercy? Man, you're just getting a lot of sizzle, but you're not getting any steak. You got a lot of sizzle, but there's no steak. And confronting gossip should be uncomfortable. It should be something, because what you're trying to do is to find out why in the world is someone gossiping about you or somebody else. It should not sit well. It shouldn't feel good. A troublemaker plants seeds of strife, but gossip separates the best of friends. As I was writing this message, and we've been in this series, I started thinking about kind of these different ideas of these mental myths, and this is what popped into my head. Satan has been around forever, trying to trip us up, mess us up, and get us to make mistakes. But why would the devil, the greatest trickster and gossiper there's ever been, jump into a tea party that we set and we spill, and he's not even a part of it? Why would the devil jump in and stir up gossip and spill the tea when we do his job for him? We get all offended about how people grew up, where they come from, how they look. We are so concerned about things that we're seeing, and we don't even realize we're doing the devil's job. Let me break this down for you. Jesus loves you. He loves everybody. We're all on the same team if you're following these things. If you believe that there's this dude named Jesus who loves you, who wants the best for you, if you believe he died and rose from the grave, that he has set a new life, purpose, and soul into your life, then the people playing on the same team as you, they shouldn't look like you, they shouldn't have your same upbringing, but if they follow those constructs and believe in this dude named Jesus and what he stood for, then we're on the same team. And let's stop spilling tea on each other and gossiping about things that at the end of the day is exactly what he wants us to get rid of. He wants us to be in unity. He wants us to be loving and merciful, because he knows how hard the world is, and he knows how hard the devil is trying to trip us up. So why would we just do half his job for him? And so when we become poisoned, we decide to lean in and believe things even if they don't sound true. They have a truthiness to it, but they're not fully truth. When I started at South Point over 3 years ago, I heard all these things from people that had talked about South Point. I heard things like, well, they don't really read from the Bible. They have all this weird music. I heard they don't pray. I heard all of these things from people that didn't attend South Point, didn't call South Point home. Just random people telling me about it. And so I got to be honest, there was a moment I came for the first time, and I was a little bit like, okay. I'm waiting for this random thing to happen that people have talked about. But we still read from the Bible. We still sang and worshiped this dude named Jesus. We still prayed. We offered all the things that every other church did. And what happens to us is the very people that told me all these things were Christians. because we got to stop, get out of our own way, and stop setting up standards that we think are right and go back to who Jesus says we are. When you spill the tea, you are messing up his message and his legacy. And it's then becoming our message and our legacy, because it's not about what we do, it's about what we do for him. How we doing? It started off with tea set and cute Gen Z words, and then everything took a turn. I love it. Number 3 for this one. Gossip contaminates the vessel that carries it. Gossip contaminates the vessel that carries it. A few weeks ago in this series, Pastor Craig was talking about this idea of idols and focus, right? That we have these things that we draw our focus on and that become the thing that consumes us. And there were some of us, whether you're watching online, hi, love you guys, glad you're here, right? Or in-house, and you stopped the stream, you went home, you got in your car, maybe turned the radio up a little bit, and this is the conversation that happened. I just can't believe that. I've never dealt with idols or focus issues before. Man, I don't. Turn signal. Always use your turn signal. Come on, let's be better, right? I can't believe that that's going on. I wonder if Miranda felt about that. So we call Miranda. Did you believe? I can't believe what Pastor Craig said about that. I don't have anything that I'm dealing with. I'm not narcissistic. I'm not focusing on all that. But my goodness, did you see the dress that she was wearing that day? Oh my goodness, and the music and all the screens and all these, oh my goodness, all these things. I can't believe it. I'm here at lunch with the family. I got to let you go. If that was you, congratulations, you have found your idol. Your idol is gossip. Congratulations. Welcome to the team. We all make mistakes. We're all broken. It happens. Finally part of it, right? It's the best club to be a part of is the people that need Jesus. I'm telling you that the thing with the problem and the issue with having all of this junk and this gossip inside of us is we feel like we are a part of a team, we feel like we're a part of things, and we feel like we're making an impact, but we feel empty. God built you beautifully. He made you perfectly, and the world has chewed you up and spit you out, and you think that the world has defined you. And when you become a carrier of gossip, what you think you're pouring out is tea. You're not, there's no tea. Just hold on. It's part of the analogy. Stay with me. We think we're pulling out tea. But what we're actually doing is we're just pouring out emptiness of ourselves. There's nothing in there. There's nothing that's real. There's nothing that's loving. There's nothing that's merciful. There's nothing that's kind. There's nothing that's joyful, because we are living independent upon what everybody else needs from us instead of being the ones that are needed by God. And what happens is then maybe you're like, well, I'm still pouring stuff out. I'm still needed. Okay. But you don't just have all those qualities of Jesus floating in your teapot. You have turds in your teapot. You're more interested about being the person to call somebody else out. You're more interested in being the person to set the standard, and you don't even know what the standard is. We get so caught up, and you can change jobs, friends, families, spouses, and churches, but if the same consistent thing follows you everywhere you go, you might want to do a heart check instead of doing other heart checks on other people. And all that I just said feels super depressing and feels like I have no reason to live. But you do, because there is hope, because Jesus has a way to cleanse your pot. A vessel can only be cleansed by its creator. You were designed to be a vessel of humility, love, truth, grace, and mercy. And until you are able to look yourself in the mirror and say, you know what? I haven't been those things. I want to be better at those things. Jesus, I need you to make me better. He will clean you up every time. He will make you new, and so everything that pours out of you inspires life and brings life, but you gotta be the one to go to him first. It's never gonna change on your own, because guess what? You've been trying it on your own and it's not working. He is the only one that can remove those turds from your teapot. And you know what? He wants to. He loves it. It's actually why he does and did what he does and does every single day. Because he loves you that much. He doesn't want you to try to do this by yourself. Titus 3:5, he, Jesus, saved us, not because of the works done by us in righteousness, but according to his own mercy, by the washing and regeneration and renewal of the Holy Spirit. It has always been about Jesus. It will always be about Jesus, and it will continue to be the standard on which we want ourselves to live. It will be. And if you're struggling with that gossip, there are ways to get through it. And I know all the things I just said, it seems like, man, that just seems like impossible task. How do I even start this process of getting rid of the tasty treats and not wanting to have these, not being comfortable with gossip? How do I get the turds out of my teapot? Well, I got some tea treatments for you guys that you can start to work on. The first one is, let's put it out there, gossip is addictive, so create a diet plan. For those that have been around South Point for a while, you guys might have noticed, I've lost like 1 or 2 pounds. 1 or 2. Let's be honest, 1 or 2. Thank you. For those that know, it's been actually a lot of pounds. I've been dropping, and I've been chasing a goal of 100 pounds, but I'm going to get there, but slowly and surely. But we're almost there. But when you're losing weight, and anyone that's ever tried to achieve a goal, starting a business, losing weight, trying to find the best version of yourself, whatever it is, you have to have a plan. You have to have something to go off of, because if you're just like, I'm going to do it, none of us are Forrest Gump. We cannot just go, I'm just going to go running. We can't. It doesn't work. From a dude who does not like running but still has to do it. It doesn't work. It doesn't. You have to have a plan. And the reason you have to have a plan is because if you don't, the Oreos are always going to be there. I tell y'all right now, I've lost like 70-something pounds. It has, hold on, you're going to miss this. You're going to be excited for my achievement, but you're going to miss this. Those Oreos have not stopped screaming my name. In fact, they've gotten louder. Proverbs 26:20, fire goes out without wood and quarrels disappear when gossip stops. Gossip will stop if you stop putting fuel on the fire, but you got to have a plan because it's always going to be there. And maybe you come in and you're now, gossip's not my thing. What's the addiction? What's the Oreo? Because I'm telling you, at least for my life, every time I've tried to start doing the right thing, it gets harder and harder to not go for the Oreos. It becomes the only focus until you can start creating that plan to love what you want to be and who you want to be in Jesus more than the addictions that you're facing. And there's a couple of practical ways. The first one, get in a small group. We have great groups here. You don't like any of them? Start your own. It is time to stop trying to do this thing called solitary Christian life. It doesn't work. It never will. Jesus had 12 best friends, and he was perfect. Come on. And some of them had their own flaws. One of them even betrayed him. But guess what? He still loved them. We need a small group. We need people around us that are going to hold us accountable, not to be our yes men and yes women, but to love us and see the best version of us. Who we will be, can be, and will be through Jesus. If you do not have a mentor in your life, find a mentor. Find somebody who has lived more years than you and is willing to give you the investment and the time to show you how to avoid some of the things that they have dealt with. And you know what? For all those mentees out there, the people looking for mentors, take the advice. Please. Man, I wish I could go back to myself at 18 and be like, don't do it. Please don't do it. I wish I could go back like last week and be like, please don't do it, right? You need mentors. We need mentors. We need people. If you're like, I don't know how to find a mentor, great. Go out in the lobby, find somebody that looks older than you, and ask them just honestly, hey, can I take you out to coffee? Can I take you out for lunch? Whatever it is. If you don't, I don't have the money for that, come talk to one of the pastors. We would love to do it because we don't want you guys struggling. We want you guys with people that'll love you. 3, therapy. It's time. If you have been on the fence and a global pandemic and all the craziness of this world hasn't pointed you to it, Jesus cares about your mental health. Period. He does. Because we are so negative to ourselves, how are we going to be the best version of ourselves if we hate what we see? Man, we got to start being honest. And in that therapy, if you're under the age of 35, hear me, my people. Please forgive your parents. Please. They tried. Were they the best? No. Were they the best? Maybe. Were they the best? They were the best ever. Great. They tried. They had a handful of cards. They played them as best they could, and it was your decision to make the most of it. if there's addictions and things, putting them in front of the love of you, guess what? Then you have a spiritual Father in heaven who loves you and wants you to love them the way he loves you. Amen. And now, everyone over 35, it's time to forgive your kids. It's time. They're trying. They're working. They are trying their best, but where were you when they were their age? What are the distractions that they have that you never had? It is time to start leaning with grace, love, and mercy. Maybe hard conversations have to happen. Maybe we have to have some accountability, but it's a whole lot better than setting up a tea party with your friends and gossiping about your kids and gossiping about your parents and never finding solutions. It's time. Because out of that, you will find more forgiveness, more grace, and more humility than you have ever seen in your life. Start with you and then work with the people that are closest to you. Number 2, your tea's not strong enough to soothe someone's pain. I'll sit down for this one. Culturally, we as people love to watch other people succeed. We just do. We love to watch people get over hurts and hang-ups, and we as much love to be the ones to help them through it. We love to be the accountability partner. We love to be the ear. We love to be the go-getter, the champion of making them feel great. But at the cost of compromising who you are and the cost of compromising to be relevant, you're not going to be real with people. You're going to try to soothe them with who you are instead of pointing them back to this dude named Jesus. No amount of tea that you spill, no amount of, oh no, he's that way or she's that way or this is that or this is that. It doesn't matter what gossip and covering you try to add. If it's not coming from a place of who God is, it's not coming from a place of like, hey, God is wanting you to be in this peace, in this unity. If we have to spend more time saying what we think the situation and the outcome is without praying for it or simply just being in their presence of who's needing it, we're doing it wrong. It is about being with people in unity. It's not about solving their problems. The last time I checked, Jesus was the only one that could solve problems. He was the only one that could take this. And there's no verse that says, thou shalt remove thy sting of thy enemy and thy friend from them, because that is what thou is commanded to do. There's no verse that says that. But there are 2 verses that are in your notes that talk about the unity that Jesus wants us to have, and then the way that we should, when gossip arises, deal with it. It's not supposed to be a public affair. It is not supposed to be something you put on social media. It is not supposed to be this wildfire that spreads through places. It is supposed to be an intimate conversation leading to resolution, leading to peace, leading to love, grace, mercy, nothing else. And at the very end of this verse, because I just want to do the one in Matthew 18, he says this: treat the person as a pagan or a corrupt tax collector. We read that, and in today's mindset, we say that, oh, we banish, admonish, we push them away. No. Jesus said you have to consider the source and pray for them more. Pray that God, because he's still working on their heart. He's still working on who they are. We are not the people that can put up walls. If God's people have nowhere to go, if God's people had nowhere to go, think about that. And think about how awesome the church would be if we were a place that actually loved people where they were, and we didn't want to try to fix their problems. We wanted to point them to the guy that does. That's what we want to be. It should be grace, love, mercy. And you know what? It's time for you to be able to work forward in knowing that, hey, there's some things in life, there's reason we have trusted advisors and trusted friends. Gossip doesn't need to be this thing that's a wildfire. But you can't soothe it. Jesus can. The last one, serve truth, not tea. I have been in this city for most of my life, and I gotta tell you, sometimes I can't stand it. Before I came to South Point, I had all these ideas and judgmental thoughts about what this city was and where they came from and all these different things. And I would be the one that would complain about the traffic, the drivers, the politics, everything. And I served in missions and I served in the local church. I did that. But I was more invested in just doing it, checking it off, and moving on. Just being real. And then I came to South Point and I got to experience this thing called Servolution. And what it did was it reminded me of something that I have been missing and forgetting because it's so easy. It's the hardest part about when we want to get gossip out of our life. That unless you make a commitment to see people how God sees them and love them even when they don't love themselves, you will miss the mission of who Jesus is. You can walk through the motions, you can say all the right things, but your heart doesn't change. Because as soon as behind closed doors, you're back to thinking and believing all those things because you believe, oh, it's just something I'm doing. It's never going to make an impact. It's never going to change a life. So the first Servolution I did 3 years ago, I had the opportunity to give away gas. We're giving away gas. I'm standing there, and I'm just pumping gas and smiling. And I'm like, okay, this is giving away gas. I'd be excited to give gas, right? All these things. And I had a lady come up to me, and I said, can I pump your gas? She said, absolutely. And I was pumping her gas for her. And she looked at me and said, I've never had anybody have a conversation with me at eye level and actually just talk about my day and love on me and tell me that, I don't know what's going on in your life, but I'm excited that you're here. Because I've grown up here most of my life. She'd grown up here most of her life, and she said, I've just never had a reason to believe in hope. I've never had a reason to think that anything could be worth it because I come from a family of addicts. I come from a family of pain and hurt. But maybe there is hope here. I just pumped your gas. That was it. That was so simple. But it's the simple and practical things that Jesus wants us to do. He doesn't want us to get up and try to change people. The gospel will do that for itself. He doesn't want us to lie to them about all the things that are happening. He doesn't want us to spread fancy gossip. He just wants us to be real and meet people where they are and be the hope that they could see through him. Carry the hope. I love how South Point claims and is the non and free gossip church. They don't want gossip here because if we're gossiping and leaning with that, then we can't believe the hope that this community can change. We will find ourselves like I was before Servolution. You'll walk through the motions. You've been saying all the right things, but your heart hasn't changed. You don't see the hope in these people. You don't see the hope in your community. You have to own it and love it. Ephesians 4:29. Don't let any unwholesome talk come out of your mouths. Don't let any unwholesome talk come out of your mouths, but only what is helpful for building others up according to their needs, that it may benefit those who listen. Man, this city and this community, they have a lot of needs. And the last time I checked, telling them that this place is awful, arguing about politics, telling them about situations, making fun of people hasn't solved anything. But meeting them where they are and just being the smiling face that has literally changed lives is Jesus walking in front of you and saying, you're helping me with another one. You're helping me with another one. You're helping me with another one. I'm going to bring the need. I'm bringing it to you. You have a community that loves and needs to hear that there's still hope. What are you going to do with it? So if you have never participated in Servolution, this is your week. I am telling you, I have been in ministry for 7 years. So you can do the math on how I felt about this city. But it's changed. I love this city, and I believe that this community can change because if a pumping gas can inspire somebody to believe that they can walk out of addictions and they can walk out of their last name and their pains and their trauma, my goodness, what could what you do change someone's life? It's practical, and it's awesome, and it's what Jesus wants us to do. He'll save them. We just need to be the smiling face. We need to be the hands and the feet and show this community Jesus has not forgotten about you. All this gossip and all this stuff, he's going to clean it right up because he loves you and he's with you. Can I pray with you guys? Father God, I love you so much. And I thank you that we are embodying who you are by going out there and meeting the needs. There are needs of pain, addiction, of strife, of strongholds. There are issues of things that have happened to our lives that we have carried for way too long. There are things that we are carrying that are affecting people that no longer even live on this earth, but yet their words are the things holding us back. So God, we let go of it. We just leave it in our seats. We don't want to carry it, and we want to carry your love and your mercy and your compassion. We highlight it this week for Servolution because it should give us that reminder daily that we are not going to give up. Servolution is the spark that should give you the wildfire to do this every single day. Believe. And so God, we believe, we trust you. And we know that you have the ability to meet the needs in this community. You have the needs that you've given to us and said, I need somebody to go out and to help them. Are you going to go? So God, send us this week and have the stories and the impact, make it be generational, make it be so impactful that it's going to literally set this community on fire with hope for you. God, we love you, we thank you, and we lift this up in your name. Amen. Guys, thank you for hanging out with me today. If you need prayer for anything, there's a QR code on the screen and people down front that would love to pray with you. There's also communion elements, so if you need communion, please partake of that. Servolution is here. Let's do it. Let's get it all. It's 100% in. Sign up. Find out more information out in the lobby. Scan that QR code. It's going to be a great week. Stand up with me if you will. We're going to say the benediction and jet on out of here. Let's say it loud and proud. Let's believe it. Now may God, the fountain of hope, fill you to overflowing with uncontainable joy and perfect peace as you trust in him. And may the power of the Holy Spirit continually surround your life with his superabundance until you radiate with hope. Amen. Radiate with hope. Have a great week, y'all.